Yesterday, I made $138.63. And I told my wife this morning, worst YouTube coach ever. And she said, no, focused YouTube coach. I appreciate her, love her to death. And I hope everyone has or finds someone or a group that is always in your corner to keep your head on straight and focused on the mission. So, not to get distracted or dissuaded by the negatives that try and make themselves so visible and the focal point when we know they're not, and if anything, educational learning opportunities to grow from. Granted, that number is nowhere near where I'd like it to be for daily revenue and daily income. However, her channel is trending up with yesterday's revenue coming in at $601.30. And the week prior, or the last 7 days, well, really 6 days, we set YouTube to 7 days, but it only shows 6, is sitting at $2,715.66. I told you guys she makes more than me. Far easier than me. That was actually one of the mistakes I made yesterday. The average number that I came up with was based on 7 days, but the chart only showed 6. So I had to clarify that. The reason why my wife makes more than me, I think, is because I'm maybe a little bit too focused. Maybe. But it's because I like YouTube. I like learning YouTube. I like understanding it. But with all these thoughts and ideas in my head, sometimes it makes it difficult for me to be the creator, the writer, the producer, the editor, the publisher, the thumbnail creator, like all things in one, as I'm processing every possible outcome and scenario and rethinking and overanalyzing everything as I do it. The reason why I think it works so well for us is definitely because she's got that. She's just got it. And she's much like a lot of folks, has her audience. Everybody has an audience. You just have to find it. And it's easier for me to help her find her audience and help make minor tweaks and adjustments without overcomplicating or maybe giving too much information that makes people second guess themselves, to just be as effective as possible. Something as simple as just one word in a title maybe can change the entire video. Especially, we've seen that a lot personally. And somebody reached out to me yesterday and they wanted me to hire them for editing. But what a lot of people don't know, that I know after thousands and thousands of video uploads and the results, is that the editing doesn't really matter. And I think it matters even less now. Granted, there was a time when retention editing was huge. And depending on the story you're trying to tell, the editing is going to be very important. For me, sitting here talking to you, even for some folks who are just going to listen to it and not watch it, or maybe even play it as a podcast, editing doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's unnecessary. And the reason why I say this is because my wife doesn't edit. And we have seen instances where she makes great videos, great conversation, and they underperform, theoretically. Underperforming is subjective. They underperform based on YouTube's obligatory top 10 or most 10 recent videos, which is a terrible metric to base your video on. But with a minor change to a title or a thumbnail, the underperforming video can go from 10 of 10 to 1 of 10 in minutes. There was no change to the edit. There was no change to the video, the topic, or anything. It was just a change or a tweak to a title or thumbnail that then made it 1 of 10 instead of 10 of 10. So there's that. I'm going to share more about that over on Patreon and School for those of you who are interested. And her average, since we did my average yesterday, her average is $452.61 per day. Plus, that's just one channel. She has other channels, and this doesn't even include other revenue sources from outside of YouTube, which, granted, even at this $452.61 average, this $2,715.66 weekly total, or 6-day total, it's low. It is. It just is. But we are continuously working on strategy. This strategy may not necessarily increase the YouTube ad revenue amount significantly, because like we talked about yesterday, there's only certain things that we can control. Even if we could, in theory, control the amount of views, impressions, click-through rate, and just got videos to go viral, we can't control YouTube's CPM or RPM. And so, it's just things to take into consideration. But really, it should come down to the sole purpose behind why you're making the video, why you're having the conversation, why you're telling the story. Bro, a dog trying to drink pool water. More so than just the amount of views or just the YouTube revenue. Because, that is such a finicky, unstable, fluctuating metric that you could potentially harm yourself mentally or physically, which I don't suggest either one, by allowing it to control your life. Speaking of which, sadly, my main channel, the one that I show you most of the analytics for that get blurred out, is my least favorite channel. But it does make the most money for now. And I am contractually obligated to complete this sponsorship through the end of June. It was a 3-month deal for a partnership that pays very, very well. Oddly, with that, lower view videos typically hit the niche target and yield the greatest return in the form of conversions and pay. Sorry, guys, I got notes here because my wife and I, we sit down on the 4-season room or 5-season room, and we just talk. And as we're talking and kind of like getting ready for the day, I'm taking notes. And then this channel and these videos have taken over as my primary focus for the day. And this is where I want to be. This is where I'm happy. This is where I like have the most joy outside of my car channel. And then my main channel is like takes a back burner. And I'm like, okay, by the end of the day, I'll get those videos done. This is where I want to be. This is my happy place. And oddly enough, I did not expect it to be that way. But, this is just a natural evolution. This is me learning myself. I came across a video last night, and I want to finish this video. But this video was from Dan Coe, or Dan Coe, I'm not sure. The most profitable niche right now. And it says avoid niching down in the title. Thumbnail is how to create a niche of one. And he says, I think he starts off by saying the most profitable niche right now is you. And I agree. Granted, there needs to be explanation and further development on what that really means. But I would agree 100%, 100%. Now, granted, like I told you guys, when a door opens and I see it, I'll let you know. For instance, the last half of 2024, the door was open for politics, and it made us a lot of damn money. Prior to that, we've seen doors open in other categories of news that literally propel channels from nothing to something. And I would say the first one that we discovered was stimulus. Yeah, stimulus check videos, stimulus check update videos was one of those door openers that just got the ball rolling. And then now I don't really think there's one. Court cases tend to kind of do well, but even then it's kind of weird. But if I see something coming that's just literally like anybody can get a piece of it, I'll let you guys know over on Patreon. And so back to this sponsorship deal that I have. It's a 3-month deal, and it's over at the end of June. And now that I think about it, it's probably going to be extended. And the reason why I say it is because it was a 3-month deal for April, May, and June, but we actually are going to have a meeting with them, and they're flying us to meet them in July. So I would assume if we're meeting them in July, that means we are still under contract. So I'd be willing to bet that they extend the contract as from a 3-year to probably from a 3-month to probably a 1-year or 2-year, maybe, which is great from a guaranteed income perspective. But it is a really good sponsorship, and it actually helps people. So I'm okay with that. Now, for example, what drives the revenue? Views, conversions, AdSense, ad revenue. If a video for me or for most people that I'm seeing right now of anywhere from 10 to 25% views to sub percentage, I've come up with this ratio. It used to be 30% that I used to see, but YouTube's algorithm has kind of made subscribers less important to a channel than they were before, which also helps smaller channels grow by not having subscribers or very many to start. So there's that. We are or at least when I started making this video, I think we had 193 subscribers on this channel. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have over 200 subscribers by the end of the day. So for anybody looking, thinking, considering starting, just look back at where I started here and where I am now, and just those consistency of basic videos every day in conversation that are designed to attract and help those who are interested in them from clear titles and thumbnails. That's it. No clickbait, no games, no tricks, no nothing. And also, most importantly, no influence. I know a lot of people like to, or would like to, or want to ask, what are your other channels? What are your other channels? Show us your other channels. Why are you hiding your other channels? It's because I don't want them to influence this channel in any way whatsoever. So the fact that this channel is being pushed by the algorithm, receiving videos receiving 10x, 20x multiples in views compared to subs at the time, with this channel now under 200 subs, but videos with over 1,000 or over 2,000 views is pretty impressive, you know? And I'm not necessarily trying to go viral. I'm only trying to deliver a clear and concise message that at first was going to help people while also driving them to me for consulting and coaching and membership signups. Whereas now I literally only want to help people by sharing my daily recap, which in turn helps me stay focused, stay clear, stay, mentally like in a much better place. And then the end result will be the end result. We'll talk more about that money, about how that makes money a little bit later on in this video. I've got a lot of notes here, folks. So my ratio, I'm just using a very low percentage where you get 10% of subs to views on a ratio. I've got 220 something thousand subscribers on the other channel. So if I got 22,000 views, that's 10%. And then I stand to earn anywhere from $60 to $200 for the video in ad revenue. 60 on the low end, 200 on the high end, maybe 400 on the high end, but those RPMs are few and far between. And that doesn't include any super thanks or anything like that. So there's that. If I can get 22,000 views, I can make anywhere from $60 to $400 in ad revenue. Odds are it'll probably make about 150. I would say about $150. Granted, this could be a video that's 8 minutes long. 8 minutes long. Yeah, we're still trying to cross the 8-minute mark to get multiple ads in the video, but 8 minutes, 22,000 views, make 150 bucks. Not bad, right? However, on the flip side, if I get a video with only, let's just say 1,000 views, or maybe 2,000, let's call it 2,000 views. Let's say I get a video with 2,000 views, which would be 1% of my subscriber count compared to 10%. And the 2,000 views I get is specifically for the audience that is likely to convert, then I can easily match or exponentially exceed the ad revenue with roughly, 20x or 10x less views, 1 to 2%, or 0.5% to 1%, depending, 1,000 to 2,000 views. So in the same 8-minute time frame, but only getting 1 to 2,000 views, I can make way more money. This specifically is why vanity metrics are misleading and should often be ignored. For instance, I think somebody asked yesterday, why post videos on a channel with so few subs and so few views? Well, you got to understand the reasoning behind why channels exist, the reasoning behind why people make the videos. There's a lot that goes into it that isn't necessarily clearly disclosed beforehand. Not to mention, let alone, if you want to build something, you got to start somewhere, right? I mean, me personally, I think my main channel and the numbers and my wife's channels and all these numbers that I can share with you, these revenue numbers and views and subscribers and analytics, I think are great. I think that they get people's ears to perk up and they, are somewhat curious. But I would be willing to bet that more people would be interested once I revealed to them I did it again on a new channel with no influence in a completely different niche from a completely different perspective and direction with relatively zero editing. I'm going to clean this video up, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it editing. I'm not going to add like jump cuts and special effects and all that shit. I'm just going to clean it up. And if there's something I want you guys to know or see that needs to be added, it'll be added. So I don't really consider this editing. You see what I'm saying? For my wife and I, we got so used to the near instant gratification from YouTube revenue updates daily. And now we have to look at it totally differently as staying the course and reviewing our progress monthly now instead of daily. Yeah. Which, we like I said, we've been doing this since 2017 as far as being self-employed. And even then there was no guarantee on our paychecks. But the jobs that we had, the contracts that we had, they would pay monthly. They were net terms. And, even then we were in construction. I was a licensed general contractor. And even, a project that, we would bid, be awarded, that would take weeks or months. Then you would start. You want to get, you want to at least load the job. You want to mobilize before the cutoff, which is typically like the 20th, to get your pay app in. If you get your pay app in, and now you're playing the game between your creditor and your supplier and the obligee to pay you, which even then was, net 30 oftentimes, maybe sometimes later. So you weren't going to see that money for 45 to 60 days at the best, like, the earliest. And so, but even still, like, then it was like, all right, well, we had the contract value. We know what it was, less retainage, and eventually we would get paid. And then it's like, well, we didn't make any money. didn't make any money. And then boom, maybe we have a few jobs going at once, and we would have deposits, $500,000 deposits after having nothing for months. Once you kind of get that ball rolling and then it gets consistent, then it's to the point where it's like, okay, well, every month we're getting something. But if you have a hiccup, or if you have a delay, or if your pay app or anything like that gets, held or anything, then it can disrupt things. But we're used to not being paid every Friday or every other Friday or whatever pay cycle there may be. We just kind of got used to, comfortable with YouTube giving us an award or congratulations every day with big revenue numbers. And now we just have to look at things differently. We are both working on new paths as people and, in essence, content creators, and dare I say, influencers. I don't know. I don't consider myself to be an influencer. However, I don't consider myself to be an influencer from the traditional definition or what most people would consider to be an influencer. I'm not sitting here, shoving products in your face and, telling you everything's the greatest and the best when it's not. However, I feel as though maybe these videos and these chats and conversations are influential, So then it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm an influencer, or maybe I'm just influential. Either way. So we're starting over, and it seems kind of odd and it seems kind of foreign, but for the first timers out there and newcomers that are just beginning for the first time, what we are doing is actually normal. It's just abnormal for us because this isn't the first time we've done it, or are still currently doing it in another capacity on other channels. And I'm willing to bet that tomorrow's video will, on this channel for day 14, show an increase in revenue for today based on a few tweaks that I made yesterday that looked like they worked out well. So I'm going to, like I said, this is my happy place. This is what puts a smile on my face and gets me going. And I'll do the main channel. I'll do the work. I literally consider that work and a job because I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't enjoy it. That's the channel with politics and stuff. I just don't enjoy it. And so I'm going to implement the same strategies that I did yesterday that worked out pretty well and see if they do. And then just continue on to, stay the course. The fluctuation over there is my interest, but also me testing to figure out what's going to bring back the best return. So that's why some days are 300, some days are 100, some days are 600, some days are whatever. But if I can get warmer, get closer to, what the algorithm likes, and essentially I have to talk to AI to pull that off, to continuously make incremental growth on every video, then it will continuously make incremental growth on every day's revenue update. For June, I do have one big change. For the month of June, the entire month of June, for that channel, I'm going faceless. Long story behind that, but I'm going faceless. It's a good segue into the next topic here. I just said I wasn't going to shove stuff in your face, but I'm going to show you. Learning to deal with rejection again. This is actually a note that I typed on here probably a few weeks ago. And it was when I was getting back into this channel before I even started doing the daily updates and putting the day after each title. And I considered it learning to deal with rejection again. And the first bullet point here are comments. Now, depending on the day and the topic and the delivery and, the universe, you could get negative comments. You could get mean comments. You could get hateful comments. You could get trolling comments. You could get, those types of comments. And, those comments can be linked and tied to rejection, depending on how you receive them. A very important message that I heard that resonates with me is that the comment, no matter good or bad, isn't really for you or about you. It's about who left the comment. Think about that. If you haven't started a video or you haven't experienced comments sections like that from other forms of social media, maybe it's foreign to you. If you're going to, or perhaps maybe you've seen other videos where people talk about it, then it's real. But if you're ready and prepared for it, which is a strong mental task, folks, I just want you to be aware, which is why I say, hopefully you have someone in your corner on your side to help keep you focused, which essentially is what school and Patreon's group is going to be. However, no comments is almost a form of rejection as well. You post a video, doesn't get any views, doesn't get any engagement, no comments. You post a video, it gets views, but it still doesn't get comments. It almost seems like a form of rejection. And that's not true. That's not. Because, again, the reasoning behind should be for the sole purpose of, and the fact that you wanted to do it, you wanted to share your story, you wanted to put it out there, and that's it. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. The few videos I watch on YouTube, it's not a lot really. I browse YouTube titles and thumbnails and I just do a lot of research. But as far as what I watch, especially the content that I watch because I want to and I enjoy it, I don't ever comment on it. I never comment on it. I never like it. Odds are I'm watching it on TV and I'm not, using my remote to toggle to get to that portion of the YouTube app on my smart TV to do it. But it doesn't mean that I'm not engaged. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. It's just when I'm watching it on TV, it's just not natural for me to want to like and comment on TV. Think about it. TV has been watching sitcoms, news, movies, or whatever. We never engaged on TV. And with a large percentage of viewership from YouTube transitioning to TV, then it's just a natural evolution that lower engagement and comments and likes is going to occur, which is also why I don't think YouTube's algorithm really cares about engagement anymore like it used to, because it can't. So there's that. Next bullet point was lack of engagement, but they kind of go hand in hand. But it's not necessarily a direct link to rejection, okay? Because in addition to what I mentioned earlier, just a slight tweak and change to a title or thumbnail could take a video from 10 to 1 in minutes. Well, so can time. So can time. And sometimes the comments and the engagement will come. You just need to give it time. I will say that it's easier to get comments and easier to get engagement when you have the right people in tune watching. And that begins with the story you want to tell, but more importantly, how you want to package and deliver it. Because granted, on the flip side, you can get tons of engagement and tons of comments by presenting something that isn't necessarily true, i.e. clickbait. And you're going to hear that shit. You're going to get tons of comments, tons of engagement. But that would definitely be a form of rejection. No confusing that one. Zero follow through. Now, I put this down because it's like, well, I don't consider myself to be an influencer, but I am sharing and I am motivating, or at least trying to be motivational. And it seems as though it comes across that way. I provide, options and opportunities for folks, and there's zero follow through. But that's not on me. I can't control someone else's actions and behaviors. Max, bro, Max. Sorry about that. I can't control someone else's actions or behavior. Much like my dog here, who's trying to get in trouble. You trying to get in trouble? So zero follow through. Does that mean that I've been rejected? Does that mean that my offer is bad? Does that mean my pitch is, ineffective? Nah, no, I don't think so. And again, I said we're going to talk about revenue and how we make money from all this. So zero follow through doesn't necessarily mean rejection, but it also means that you shouldn't, if the goal is to produce income and revenue, you shouldn't only tie it to a conversion, at least from your audience, directly to you. The next one would be limiting beliefs. Granted, you get no comments, lack of engagement, zero follow through, no conversions. Limiting beliefs, if you've overcome them, even to the point of which you started down this seemingly very stressful and anxiety inducing path and journey, well, they start adding up. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe YouTube algorithm hates me. Maybe my face is stupid. Maybe I don't have a good voice. Maybe my editing is bad. All these negatives, which, look, guys, it's not hard to find the negatives on YouTube. It's not hard to find the negatives on YouTube. Sadly, that is a direction that a lot of content has gone, which I don't do. I try not to do, because here's the deal. When this channel gets monetized, I'm anxiously awaiting the opportunity to say we did it simply and easily. I actually have that note here. I have that note here because of our talk yesterday, so I don't forget. Day 42. How close I am to getting monetized, assuming, we aren't at that time, but maybe we are. But whatever and whenever that day comes, my small YouTube channel got monetized when it really shouldn't have, is my working title. But even that seems kind of negative, and I don't really want to go that route. Why do I say it shouldn't have? Well, smiles in my thumbnail, positivity in my titles, honesty in the titles and in the videos, simple delivery, stories, little to no editing, and only using screenshots for thumbnails. In essence, this shouldn't work. It shouldn't work. Meanwhile, while you're out there trying to execute on every damn trick and strategy and, gurus, how to get more views and this, that, and the other, and you're not, well, then the limiting beliefs start to come in, and then you start reading these negative titles and thumbnails and thinking, yeah, you're right. That is why it sucks. That is why I'm never going to make it. That is what's wrong with me. No. No. I sent this screenshot to my wife this morning, and I said, this guy's probably very talented, but he's stuck in the negativity phase. He's stuck in the negativity phase. Literally, the facial expression that you make is the first impression that you're giving not only the viewer potentially, but the algorithm. Okay. I told you guys, in essence, I have to talk to AI. Granted, I'm gonna go faceless. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use 11 Labs to do the voices or if I'm gonna do the voices. But what I really meant by that was the only way for me to even be on your screen right now, on your phone, your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, your TV, the only way, even if it's a podcast and you're listening on YouTube Music, the only way for that to happen is for me to talk to AI. AI is between you and me. AI is scanning my video, my transcript, it's processing it, and it is then categorizing it and deciding where it goes, what category it falls into, and how many impressions they're going to give it. Deciding what the click-through rate is. They decide everything. I have to talk to AI before I talk to you. And so when AI sees my face and my face is smiling, AI forms an opinion. It's part of AI's algorithm. When AI sees my face and I'm sad and my hands are on my face and it looks like something's wrong, well, again, AI is doing its job. But hey, to each their own, okay? And there's a time and place for everything. There's a reason for it. There's a strategy behind it. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of folks are trying to take the easy route by just presenting the negative, assuming that it will pull in more viewers. But again, basing results or perhaps maybe your own content, your own strategy, your own style on someone else's by a vanity metric is a terrible idea, especially from the standpoint of, well, okay, even in my case, if I do that on my main channel and I get a lot of views, odds are it won't get a lot of conversions. That means I'm kneecapping myself and I'm only working for YouTube's ad revenue, which is not part of my exit strategy, instead of necessarily like clearly connecting with the audience that needs, wants, and is most likely to convert based on that information. Those videos get less views. Those videos pay me more money at the end of the day. Full transparency here, folks. Another bullet point here was learning to deal with rejection is skepticism. Skeptical. Look, you guys are skeptical of me. Not all of you, some of you. Some of you have been, you've expressed it in the comment section, and some folks that I haven't even had an opportunity to read their comments yet, who haven't come across this channel yet, will be skeptical. You can't help but be skeptical. I mean, think about the world that we live in today. Why would someone sit there and tell me everything? Why would someone sit there and be honest with me? Why would someone that doesn't even know me want to help me? Why would someone show me how much money they make? Why? Like, literally, you got to be skeptical. Now, granted, there are, for instance, me sitting here talking to you every single day kind of goes to show how much time I have available in my schedule. Me sitting here talking to you in front of my pool does paint a picture. Me sitting there yesterday talking to you in a parking lot in front of my Z06. Again, people's minds subconsciously or maybe, even consciously will make connections and ties to what they see and perceive to determine their level of skepticism. But again, we're going to talk more about that a little bit later as far as where the money comes from. And it hopefully will make sense. Next one here is, am I good enough? Which these are all starting to kind of meld into the same, The short answer is yes, you are. You're good. You're great, actually. The moment you accept that, the moment you realize that, the moment you allow that to be true, then, you'll get that confirmation. But if you ask yourself, am I good enough? Or you question yourself on whether or not you're good enough, and or also restrict yourself from never starting, never taking the first step, never chasing your dream, never asking someone out on a date, never trying something new for the first time, you'll never know. You'll never know. I love YouTube. I love it because it's such a psychological exercise, really, for me, and I love it. I love the psychology of people, but even so, when you add in the computer-based AI algorithm to it, it's just infinitely more complex. I think I saw a video thumbnail that says, how do you find this entertaining? And that's the psychology that I'm interested in. Like, why do people do this? Why do people like this? Why do people buy this? Why do people, do these things? I like just thinking about it. I just like learning about it, talking about it. And YouTube, in my opinion, is easily relatable to pretty much any and every life experience in some way, shape, or form. And so you may not want to start a YouTube channel, but maybe YouTubers and YouTube videos and YouTube channels, or maybe even mine, the message that you hear when you hear it will motivate and inspire you to start something else. Start a business, start learning a new skill, start exercising, start enjoying life, start, telling your wife or your husband you love them, or what, like literally start something. It may. And I think YouTube, I can make it, because I've been doing it so long and seen so many different instances, I can make that tie and connection. But usually oftentimes I can share a video with somebody or a short that will resonate. And I think it's a great platform. I think it's a great tool. Very, very helpful, very useful. So speaking of great platforms and great tools and being helpful and useful, School and Patreon group descriptions now read, more people lose from fear of rejection than actual rejection. This is a quote from Alex Hormozi, and I truly look up to him and know that a lot of my motivation and inspiration comes from his videos, his reels that I see on TikTok and on YouTube and on X from time to time. And just these little quotes and these posts that he puts up, think about that. More people lose from fear of rejection than actual rejection. It's actually interesting because I came across this today, but I had this note here from weeks ago as far as learning to deal with rejection. And they just match. They just match, they just go together. It's like right time, right place. This was divine intervention. This is meant to be. The universe is coming together, folks. And so, going back to, am I good enough? Well, most people lose from fear of rejection than actual rejection is stemming from questioning whether or not you're good enough. Because if you think you're not good enough, you convince yourself you're not good enough, then you're going to lose from fear of rejection, not try, not take the action, not attempt anything, and you'll never actually get rejected. Most people lose from fear of rejection than actual rejection because they don't try. They don't give it a shot. The last thing that I want to do, and I remember this was 2017, and I was quitting my job. I think at the time I was making like $150,000 a year. And at the least, I was making $150,000 a year. I had a company vehicle, I had a company credit card, everything was paid for. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered, right? It was money, 2017. And I quit. People literally were like, Kevin, are you freaking crazy? Are you out of your mind? I said, I can tell you guys right now, on the path that I'm on, I could probably make 200, 300,000, make good money here, right? But what I could never do is know what would have happened if I tried it on my own, if I chased my dream, if I at least attempted it. I would hate to live my life with the regret of never knowing. So I just jumped off the deep end. I just jumped off. Here we are. Here we are today. Now, here's the deal, folks. I can't promise anyone millions of dollars or hundreds or thousands of subscribers and even tens of thousands of views on their YouTube channels and their videos, but I can share my story and perhaps help motivate and inspire others to do the same. Most importantly, in an effective way that's mutually beneficial and reaches and connects to the right people who need to hear it, which I would assume if you're still watching at this point in time, you're probably the right people. I'm going to do a future video where I talk more about the money and, in essence, not so much focused on who I want the customer or client to be, but if you keep doing the good thing, if you keep doing the right thing, then eventually you're going to get paid. You're going to make money. I think Cody Sanchez, she put up something yesterday like, rich people don't do it for money. They do it because they enjoy it. The money is just how they keep score. And I can tell you guys right now, the money fluctuates. It comes and it goes, but typically it comes, more comes than goes. And so, yeah, I would love for YouTube's ad revenue to pay me tremendous amounts of money every day, but I can't control that, nor can I really control anything at that point. But what I can control is my actions, my efforts, my conversations, my stories, my message, my meaning, my heart. And so I'll make YouTube ad revenue. I'll make sponsorship money. I'll make membership money. I'll make affiliate. I'll make money. It'll happen, But if I sit there and harp on and focus on just one in particular and try to force it, then it probably won't happen, or at least not as effectively and as much as it could or should. So me, myself, and pretty much anyone else out there, I think we are definitely venturing into an era where the audience that you attract and the people you talk to and the relationships that you build from being real and authentic are going to translate easily to build your brand and build a business, but also connect with sponsorship opportunities that would love to have an opportunity for you to even mention their name once in your video. So there's that. Today is day 13, and this is my story. And every day I see more and more just how much easier it gets and how helpful having this channel is to me, my goals, my business, my income, and my personal well-being and mentally being in a much healthier state.